Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Unacademy. On this channel, CAT for MBA, dedicated to the preparation of CAT and other management entrance exam, I welcome you all. My name is Neelam, and I'm going to be your educator and guide for these exams. In today's session, I'm going to talk about verbal reasoning questions, those topics which appeared on 20th of December in SNAP exam. In today's practice session, we are going to incorporate all those topics, and with that, we will also discuss the concepts which are associated to those topics. Alright, so that is what is the agenda of today: practice of verbal ability or verbal reasoning for SNAP. Before beginning today's session, let me give you a brief introduction of myself. My name is Neelam Malkani. I possess around 12 years of experience of test preparation industry and have trained students of CAT, GRE, GMAT, SAT, IELTS and TOEFL. I also had the opportunity of designing and setting assessment papers of English and reasoning for various exams. For a brief period of time, I also served as an examiner of English for an international organization. Recently, I have authored a comprehensive book of English for the preparation of competitive exams. The book is written in both Hindi and English and is available on Amazon. This video is brought to you by Unacademy, India's largest online learning platform for the preparation of competitive exams. Let me take you to its portal and tell you how you can start your preparation and be part of this platform. First, you have to go in the Play Store of your mobile phone and install Unacademy Learning app. That is going to be the first and foremost step. After you fill in all the details, you will be shown 3 major offerings plus free courses, special classes. So that's going to be the biggest advantage of having this app in your mobile phone. You can have access to free courses and special classes. You can attend all the classes of those educators who are providing their classes under these 2 categories. Once you are contented with their education level or with their delivery, you can go for the subscription of Plus product. When you go further for the subscription, you will be shown all the features that you will be availing when you subscribe to the product. Features such as 30 hours of live sessions every day. So as per your availability and as per your suitable time, you can choose the time of your session. The classes which are delivered by these educators are well structured and well designed, having a fine balance of conceptual clarity and practice so that you prepare well for these exams. 40 plus top educators are delivering their sessions on Unacademy. You can choose the educator of your choice. Every month you see new course being launched by Unacademy, a course which is catering to the needs of a specific exam. When you go further and decide which course you would like to go with and which model of subscription you would like to choose, you have to type code Neelam if you want to avail 10% further discount. If you are preparing for those exams which are happening in January and February, you can go for 1 month's preparation, or if you are going for CAT 2021, you should go for yearly subscription. Whichever model of subscription you decide to go along with, if you type the code Neelam, you will be able to avail 10% further discount and your fee is going to come down to 3,150 for a month and 15,750 for entire year. So that is best in the industry and very pocket friendly. Now what are you waiting for? Just go in the Play Store of your mobile phone, install this app and start the preparation of your targeted exams. Let me just ensure whether I'm live or not. All right, fine. So let me now give you information about the batches which started yesterday. If you are preparing for CAT 2021, you should not miss these batches. Absolute batch which started yesterday, which is going to be headed by top faculty members of Unacademy who have extensive experience of guiding and mentoring students. The batch is going to be for weekdays, and if you want to enroll in this batch, all you have to do is type code Neelam, right? Another batch which is complete weekday batch, which is again launched on 28th of December. The batch is going to be headed by Ronak Shah, who is again a very prominent faculty of quantitative ability. And with that, you have two more prominent faculty members of Unacademy, Neha Rastogi and Munira. Munira, who is from IIM Calcutta, pass out. One more batch, which is an iconic batch. So the best feature of this batch is that you will be taught by those people who are pass out from IIM Ahmedabad, IIM Bangalore, and IIM Calcutta. So the very colleges that you are targeting, or the very colleges that you are dreaming about getting admission into, these students or these faculty members are from these colleges. So they have first-hand experience of the preparation of this exam, clearing this exam, going through entire process of GD and PI, and studying in these colleges, right? So you will be taught by these faculty members who are going to give you the first-hand experience of their whole journey, right? Now, in this batch, the another benefit that you are going to avail is that you will be given a personal mentor, right? A person who is going to be dedicated to you, who is going to look at your performance, track your performance, see what kind of mistakes you are making, and analyze your mistakes, and accordingly, he is going to chalk out a plan for you that you have to adhere to, and with that you can see some transformation in your performance, right? So this person is going to keep an eye on your performance, on your test performance, as well as on your class performance, right? So you have a personal mentor dedicated to you. All the benefits that you are going to avail under Plus batch will also be given to you in Iconic batch. One more feature that has been recently inducted by Unacademy in order to facilitate students, that is Ask a Doubt. In this feature, all you need to do is, if you have a problem in a specific question, all you need to do is, you have to take a picture, the picture which is clear, visible. You have to upload that picture, highlight that part of the question which you need to be clarified, send on a specific number which will be given to you. Within 24 hours, you will be given the solution, you will be answered, right? So this is again a personal mentoring for any doubt you have or any question you have in a specific subject or a specific test. All right. Okay, so Shivam, I just introduced myself. I hope that's enough. All you needed to know about me, I hope I expressed myself and I introduced myself, right? All right, so let's get started with today's session. That is verbal reasoning practice, right? So I hope all of you know that the importance of whole reasoning, logical reasoning part is very much as long as SNAP is concerned, because the highest number of questions are from logical reasoning section, and then logical reasoning part will be divided into analytical reasoning, verbal reasoning, logical reasoning, and visual reasoning, right? So as far as the paper which was there on 20th of December is concerned, there were 6 questions from verbal reasoning, and in today's session we are going to talk about verbal reasoning questions of logical reasoning part, right? So let me just give you a brief snapshot of the questions which appeared on 20th of December. There was one question based on syllogism. So syllogism, very basic topic of reasoning, which is commonly asked in IIFT, SNAP, sometimes in ZAT as well. So that's also going to be there in TIS and CMAT. So in order to do well in the reasoning section of these exams, you need to go through the concept of syllogism. And syllogism will also help you in building your topic for critical reasoning, because this is the basic of reasoning, basic part of the reasoning, right? So if you're clear with syllogism, that will help you immensely in other parts of reasoning. So syllogism, there was one question, it was fairly easy, quite doable, all of these students marked the answer correctly. Another question that was from verbal reasoning was statement and course of action. So statement and course of action, there were two questions from this part. So usually this question deals with a problem scenario, and accordingly to suggestive course of actions are given. You will have to choose which course of action is applicable in that given scenario, or which course of action is going to address the problem, right? So that way, course of action is nothing but the basic understanding of decision making, right? So decision making, which is there in ZAC, which is also there somehow in MMAT, is also there in a preliminary way in SNAP. So course of action, in this situation, if you were there in a decision making position, what you would have done, right? So course of action is testing your basic understanding of decision making. Statement and conclusion, there was one question on statement and conclusion. So basic statement were given, one line statement were given, two suggestive conclusions. One has to choose which conclusion follows from the statement given. Very basic questions. Statement and assumption. There was one question based on this part of reasoning, and there was one question based on analogy. So analogy, which is again, it is part of vocabulary as well as it comes into reasoning as well, because other than knowing the meaning of the words, you also need to understand the relationship which is there in the pair, the word pair which is given in the question. So that is why it calls for some kind of reasoning, some kind of application of reasoning. That is why this comes into verbal reasoning. So this was the segregation of topics, and you can see there were total 6 questions out of 25 questions of logical reasoning, 6 questions from verbal reasoning. All right. So are we all ready for practicing today? I can see myself live. I can see your comments as well. Okay, I see the comments of Shivam here. So Shivam, the group you are possibly talking about, the group name I gave you for my Telegram group, right? Is that the name that you are asking about? Is that the group you are asking about? Okay, I sent you the direct link yesterday. If you follow that link, you can easily get the link. Alright, I'll give you a link today as well. Fine. Hi Abhishek, welcome to the session. So are we all ready? So I'm going to start with syllogism. I have taken up 9 questions on syllogism, and they are going to include all varieties of syllogism questions, right? So whichever way you use to, whichever way you or method you use to solve syllogism, TikTok method or Venn diagram method, you have to keep a pen and a paper handy so that you do that question easily, because ultimately for SNAP you won't be given much time. All right, Shivam, fine. I'll try to see. I'll try to see if I can get the settings changed. Right? Fine. Right. So all of you are ready. Let me give you first question. That's going to be on syllogism. Right? Fine. Here you go. Sure, Shivam. Sure. Okay. I don't see any answer coming up. Quickly, post your answers. So some Americans are great entrepreneurs. Mark is an American, right? So Shivam says it's C, neither is valid. Fine. Let's see what other people answer. All right. So C. All right. All right. So this is how the diagram will be made. Abhishek says answer is C. So some Americans are great entrepreneurs, right? So this is how you're going to intersect these two circles, right? So these are Americans who are great entrepreneurs, right? Mark is an American, so Mark is going to come here. He's surely here, but the possibility is he can also be here, right? Because this is representing both American as well as great. Yeah. So when the conclusion is Mark is a great entrepreneur, so this answer actually assumes that Mark is coming here. It ignores the possibility of Mark being here in this circle only, right? So this is why this is not the conclusion. Mark is not a great entrepreneur. So this answer actually assumes that Mark is only here and the possibility of Mark is not here. So that is why this is also incorrect. Hence answer is C. Both of you answered correctly. Answer is C. Yeah, so if it is either he's a great entrepreneur or he's not a great entrepreneur, right? So if either is there, this answer is going to be either, right? Since either is not there, that is why answer is neither. All right? Because wherever you put Mark, if you have to follow this sentence, Mark is an American, so you will put Mark either here or here. So these are two possibilities. There isn't any other possibility, right? So that way, either is going to be the correct answer if that is there in the option. Yes, Abhishek, you're right. All right. Next question. All right. So the diagram is going to be all philosophers are profound thinkers. Now Sigmund is a profound thinker. Now Sigmund is definitely here. The possibility is also Sigmund may be here, right? Now Abhishek says A and Shivam says B. Let's see. Now A says Sigmund is a philosopher. Now if Sigmund is here, that's a possibility. Yes, he is a philosopher, but that's just a possibility. The possibility is also that Sigmund may be outside the circle of philosopher, right? So if he is outside, then he is not a philosopher, he is only a profound thinker, all right? So that is why this is not the answer. Your valid conclusion has to satisfy all the possibilities. This conclusion is satisfying only one possibility, that is Sigmund is here. Alright? B. Sigmund may be a philosopher? Yes. Now because of this word maybe, that is accepting the possibility of Sigmund inside the circle of philosopher. In this, if he is inside, this is going to be the correct. And since it says maybe, that is why answer is only B. Clear? Next question. Alright, next question. Shivam says it's A. Alright, so Mahfouz says it's B. Abhishek says it's A. Let's see. Now, only rich are privileged. Only rich are privileged. So whenever you have only, please remember only A is B is nothing but only B is A. Sorry, all B is A. So only A is B has to be reversed. All B is A. So when I say only graduates can take CAT, does that mean all graduates are going to take CAT or all CAT takers are graduate? How are you going to draw the picture? Only graduates can take CAT, that means all CAT takers are graduate. Not all graduates are going to take CAT. Right? So when you say only rich are privileged, it's going to be all privileged people are rich. Fine? Some privileged are worthy. So that means it's going to be this. Alright? So if this is a picture, look at the conclusions now. Some rich are worthy. Yes. They show me these rich are also worthy. All rich are worthy. Now all rich are worthy is actually assuming this worthy circle is going to encircle entire rich circle. That is just a possibility. Right? So that's a possibility. That is why B is not the answer. Answer is A. Are we clear? Now please remember, whenever you have only A is B, this is nothing but all B is A. Right? Simplify that way, it's going to be easy for you. Are we clear, class? Let me just see if this is clarified so that I can move on to the next slide. Guys, quickly tell me if this concept is clear. Only A is B is nothing but all B are A. Alright, next question. So the statement is no IIM graduate is unemployed. Second statement is all unemployed are depressed. So here the picture will be drawn. This is IIM graduate and no IIM graduate is unemployed, right? All unemployed are depressed. So all those people who are unemployed are depressed. Now this circle can intersect IIM graduates. Can also be this way. This is one possibility. This is second possibility. So there is some intersection between those people who are depressed and IIM graduates. And here there is no possibility of their intersection. Look at the conclusions now. No IIM graduate is depressed. In this, yes, it's applicable. But in this, it's not valid. This is why it's not valid. Your conclusion has to be validated by all the possibilities. That's the thumb rule that you have to abide by, right? So A is not the answer. All depressed are unemployed. So here we are told all unemployed are depressed. So that means some depressed are unemployed. That does not mean all depressed are unemployed. That's a possibility. That's not a valid conclusion, right? So answer is C. Neither is valid. Now I see answer Shivam Abhishek, you said both are valid. How both are valid? Tell me. Should I explain to you this concept again? Because both are not valid. Whenever you have all A is B, so the valid conclusion is some B are A. So that's the valid conclusion. So when you have all unemployed are depressed, that means some depressed people are unemployed. All depressed are unemployed is not the valid conclusion. That's a possibility. The possibility is when this circle is representing A and B, both. When this is the possibility, this is valid. Otherwise, in this condition, it is not valid. समझ रहे हो? Please consider all the scenarios, otherwise you are going to make these silly mistakes. Syllogism, easiest concept of reasoning, the fundamental part of reasoning. Don't get this wrong. And the questions are going to be very easy. They are going to be cakewalk. Alright? Fine. Shall we move on to the next question? Alright, the statement is no actor is vocal. So these are two discrete circles. No actor, vocal, right? So actor and vocal, two different separate circles. No intersection. No person who is vocal is government supporter. Alright, now person who is vocal is not government supporter, so there is a third circle, which is vocal and government supporter. No intersection between these two circles. But nothing has been stated about actor and government supporter. So if nothing has been stated, there is every possibility. But all of them will be the possibility only. Alright? Now let me see some answers and then I'll draw the diagram. Jim says it's B. Fine, only second. Yeah, you say it's A. Are you doing it with the diagram, with the Venn diagram? What method do you use to solve syllogism questions? All right, fine. So no actor is vocal. All right. So these are two separate circles which are not intersecting. No actor is vocal. That means no vocal person is an actor. All right. The second statement is no person who is vocal is a government supporter. So vocal and government supporter are going to be different circle. No vocal person is a government supporter, right? That can only be in a situation where no government supporter is vocal. So there is no intersection in actor and vocal, there is no intersection in vocal and government supporter, but nothing has been stated about these two circles. These two actors and government supporters. That means everything is possible. All government supporters can be actors. All actors can be government supporters. Some actors can be government supporters and no actors can be government supporters. So this is one possibility, this is second possibility, this is third possibility, this is a fourth possibility. But as I said, all of these are going to be just possibilities. None of them is going to be a valid conclusion. Alright? So the valid conclusion is going to be no vocal person is government supporter. That's going to be the valid conclusion. Right? Now look at this. A says no actor is government supporter. That means this conclusion is considering only one possibility, that is first, where government supporter circle and actor are not intersecting. It is ignoring other possibilities. That is why A is not the answer. All actors are government supporters. That means all actors are government supported. It is considering only third possibility, where an actor circle is encircled by government supporter circle. That means this is also not the answer. Answer is going to be C. Can you see how C is the answer? Class, Shivam, Abhishek and other who are watching the video, who are watching the session, please tell me if the concept is clear. You have to consider all the possibilities. That's the basic fundamental rule of syllogism. Your conclusion is validated, has to be validated by all the possibility. There are four possibilities. If it is not valid in one possibility, then it's not your conclusion. Are we clear? All right. Next question. Okay, now let's look at this question. All syllogism is reasoning. Alright, so syllogism has to be inside and reasoning has to be in the outer circle. Some reasoning is non-verbal. So the outer circle of reasoning is going to be intersected with non-verbal. Right? Now the conclusion. Syllogism may be non-verbal reasoning. It says maybe. Look at the word. So it expresses possibility. Will that be a valid conclusion? Syllogism is not non-verbal reasoning. Or will that be a valid conclusion? Okay, let me draw this picture for you. So all syllogism is reasoning. Some reasoning is non-verbal. So this is non-verbal. Fine. Now this can also be non-verbal. Alright? Because this is also reasoning. In this possibility, there is some intersection between syllogism and non-verbal. In this, there is no possibility of intersection. This is one possibility, second possibility. First, syllogism may be non-verbal reasoning. This is true because it says maybe. Alright? This shows maybe, it expresses possibility. That is why this is going to be the answer. Syllogism is not non-verbal reasoning. Categorically, it says it's not non-verbal reasoning. That means it ignores the possibility of this intersection. That is why this is not the answer. Answer is A. I can give you as much time as you want, but ultimately you have to prepare for the exam, which is going to give you only 1 hour. 1 minute each question, right? 60 questions, 60 minutes. You cannot actually afford to give more than 30 seconds to a question of syllogism, because other questions are going to take up a lot of time, especially your puzzles and data arrangement and other questions which are going to appear in logical reasoning section, right? Syllogism, get your basics correct. If you want, you can go back to the fundamentals, get your concepts clear again, do some exercises, and then take the test, right? All right, fine. Next question. Yes, I would like to go with the exam space. Okay, so please read it. People of Delhi. People of Delhi are fun-loving. Okay, so people of Delhi are fun-loving. So whenever you don't have anything at the beginning, you have to take it as all. So people of Delhi are fun-loving, right? All fun-loving people live longer. So that's how, first circle, they live longer. A, people of Delhi live longer. Yes, right? So that's very valid conclusion. A, all people who live long are from Delhi. All the people who live long are from Delhi. That means this circle and this circle is same. That's just a possibility. The possibility is people of Delhi, they are fun loving and they live longer. That's one circle only. But that's a possibility. If this is a possibility, this conclusion is true. But that's a possibility. In this possibility, it's not true. So B is not the answer. Only A is going to be the answer. Alright? Fine. Alright, let me draw the Venn diagram for you. No Spider-Man is Superman. Alright? No Superman is a Batman. A Superman and Batman, no intersection. Some Spider-Man are Batman. So here there is this intersection, right? Now, no Batman is Spider-Man. So now Batman is Spider-Man is false. So whichever option has one is not going to be your answer, right? So D is eliminated. No Batman is Superman. No Batman is Superman. That's given. That's given. That's a reiteration of that statement. The second has to be there. So this is not the answer. If second is the answer, none follows is not your answer. You just have to ensure whether third is your conclusion or not. Some Supermen are Spider-Man. That's very categorically denied in the very first statement. The third is not the answer. Answer is 2. Yes, B is your answer. Okay? So it looks very complicated. You have 3 sentences, you have 4 answers, and then you have 4 options, right? So it looks very complicated. This is the way IIFT is going to test your syllogism, right? It will give you in a very complicated way. But the concept, as long as you have clarity of the concept, answer is going to be very easy. Alright? Or marking the answer, fetching your answer is going to be very easy process. Alright? Fine. Last question on syllogism. Yes, it does come in this exam. Even in IIFT. Okay, so Kainat says it's D. Priyas Patel says it's D. Both are valid. Alright. Abhinav or Shivam says it's D. All of you are giving answers in consensus. D. Alright, let me now draw the picture for you or diagram for you. Some farmers are agitating. Now look at this. Right? Now these are agitating farmers, this part. No politician is agitating, so politician is not agitating. So politician is not intersecting with this circle, which agitating. But as I said, nothing has been stated for farmer and politician relationship. So everything is a possibility. So this is one possibility where farmers is not intersecting with politician. The possibility is that all politicians are farmers. The possibility is also that this entire circle can be politician. This cannot be politician because this part is both farmers and agitators, and it has been said that no politician is agitating. That means except this part, politician can intersect with entire part of farmers. This entire part can be politician. Alright, now look at the conclusion. Some politicians are not farmers. This possibility, this is one possibility, this is second possibility, this is third possibility, and this is fourth possibility, where all farmers are encircled by politician. In second possibility, I can see all politicians as farmers. All politicians are farmers. That means this is not true. In this situation, this is not true. There is no politician who is not farmer. Can you see that? The circle of politician is inside the farmers. So this is not the answer. Second, or this is not the valid conclusion. Second, some farmers are not politicians. Now look at this statement carefully. Now it says some farmers. Yes, that's going to be valid because these farmers are not politicians. These farmers who are agitating, who are in this circle, are not politicians. The rest of the farmers can be politicians. Rest all farmers who are not agitating can be politicians. Answer is B, not D. All of you said it's B. No, answer is B. Please tell me if the concept is clear. Please tell me if you can understand the concept clearly. Then we can move on to analogies. So Kainat, Shivam, Preyas. All of you answered D, but D is not the answer. Is that clear? All right. Fine. Is this concept clear? All right. Fine. So, all right. So once we are done with this, towards the end, we can do 2 to 3 syllogism question. Is that okay? Right? Fine. Now this is analogy. As I said, it appeared in reasoning part of SNAP. So let's do some syllogism, so let's do some analogy questions. And so this I picked up yesterday as well, if you remember, in vocabulary question. So shower and deluge. So what is the relationship? Shower and deluge. What is the relationship? They are not exactly synonymous, are they? Okay. So please understand the relationship of these two words. So deluge is flood. There's too much water that leads to deluge, right? So shower is normal rainfall. So that's a mild word. So the intensity is not very high. Whereas deluge, it's on extreme degree. Alright? So deluge is nothing but flood. When an area is inundated, you say it's deluded. Bar, basically, right? So extreme shower is deluge. Right? So here, you have to choose the words which are in the same relationship and same way they are placed. So this word has to be here, the mild word has to be here, and the extreme word has to be here. Alright? So that is yes. Kainak, your answer is correct. Answer is B. Irritation is when you are annoyed at something or someone. Right? So you're losing your temperament, or you're possibly not very pleased about something. Whereas rage, when you are in rage, you're extremely angry, you are livid, you are furious, right? So you go banana when you are in rage, you are actually extremely angry, right? So this is high intensity word and this is a mild intensity word. Answer is B. Good, very good. Next, curiosity and no. What is the relationship? First, you identify the relationship, because if you establish a correct relationship, then only you will be able to find out the right answer. So Shivam here says it's B. Fine. So here, let me establish a relationship for you. So curiosity is the desire to know. So desire to know something more is the curiosity. Your desire, your willingness to know something is curiosity. Isn't it? Right? So the relationship is desire to know is curiosity. So you say it's B and A. Okay? So desire to conquer is temptation. Is that? No. That's not the answer. A is not the answer. Right? Now desire to eat is starvation. Is that correct? Willingness to eat is starvation. No, actually when you are not eating something, that is starvation. Refraining from eating is starvation. Not eating is starvation. No. You have to establish a relationship between curiosity and no. How in your sentence, see, in analogy question, it becomes very imperative for you to make a sentence, because that sentence is going to be your guiding principle to see your answer, to get your answer. So curiosity is willingness to know. The sentence that you are framing, knowledge is there in spite of no. No. You have to make curiosity. I mean, you have to make the sentence with curiosity. Starvation is not the desire to eat. Starvation is when you don't eat. Right? Now the answer is C. Wanderlust is the desire to travel. When you are wanderlust or when you have wanderlust, that means you have extreme desire. Lust is nothing but extreme desire, strong yearning for doing something. So lust, wanderlust, you call somebody wanderlust, or you call feeling or spirit of wanderlust when you have extreme desire for traveling. You have itchy feet because you cannot stay on a place for a long time. Wanderlust desire, especially among Indians in the time of summer. In summer season, all of us are gripped by the spirit of wanderlust. All of us want to travel, right? So wanderlust is desire to travel, right? So answer is C. Are we all clear? Now again, you can see that D is not exhibiting the same relationship, right? Humor is not the desire to laugh. Humor generates laugh, right? So when something is humorous, it leads to laughs. Okay? So this is also now the relationship. So the point that I'm trying to drive home very loud and clear is that it's very important for you to draw the relationship correctly. If you miss drawing the correct relationship, you're definitely going to mark incorrect answer. Shivam, wanderlust is desire to travel. Strong desire to travel. Next. Okay, now look at the relationship here, segregate and unify. Segregate, I hope all of you know what this word means. Segregate का मतलब होता है अलग थलग करना, isolate करना, segregate करना किसी को, profiling करना. Racial lines पे लोगों को segregate किया जाता है. That means black and white, they are segregated. Their homes are segregated, their communities are segregated, right? Segregate is to isolate. लोगों को अलग थलग करना. Unify is to combine, right? So opposite basically. So it's very easy. It actually previous snap year question only, snap question only. Yeah, opposite relationship. Yes, Shivam. So what is the answer? Answer is damage. Right? Fine. Very good. Epilogue, novel. Now if you know the meaning of epilogue, this is going to be very easy for you. What is epilogue? What is prologue? Prologue, epilogue. Which comes at the beginning of a novel, or which comes at the beginning of a drama, or maybe a story, a book. So at the beginning comes prologue, right? At the end comes epilogue. Concluding part of a novel or a story or maybe a chapter or a book, that is an epilogue. Starting or the beginning is prologue, right? I hope you all know what preamble is. Preamble of Indian Constitution, right? So preamble is also something which comes at the beginning of something, important document, or something which is officially, you know, it's recognized as something very important. Uska first part is preamble. Prelude is the starting part of a song, right? So prologue is the beginning of a chapter, beginning of a novel, or the beginning of any book. That's prologue, right? So preamble is also same thing. Prelude is the starting part of a song. Okay? Now epilogue is the end part of a novel. At the end of the novel, the things which are written are epilogue, right? Now meal. At the end of the meal, what is served? Supper, lunch, appetizer, or dessert? At the end of the meal, what is served, class? What is the last course of a meal? Alright, somebody wrote dessert. Yeah, answer is A. Fine, answer is A. Fine, next question. So how the way bribe and influence are related, which word will be same way related to forgiveness? Bribe is given to influence someone, right? You give somebody bribe because you want to get your work done by that person, right? You want to influence that person. You want to influence that person's judgment. All right? So that's the whole purpose of giving someone bribe. Now here, if that's the relationship, how forgiveness is related to these words? Yeah. So Prayas, yes, your answer is correct. An apology is tendered to seek forgiveness, to ask for forgiveness. All right? So apology is same way related to forgiveness as bribe is related to influence. I hope all of you understand the meaning of this word. Jury is judge. A jury is law. Jury is law, right? And jury is justice. Per is always away. Basically, perjury means when you take oath in a court and then you tell a lie, then you prevaricate the fact. कोर्ट में शपथ लेके झूठ बोलना, कसम लेके झूठ बोलना is perjury. That's a crime, right? So if you take an oath in a court, you have to stick to the facts. You have to stick to the truth. All right? So perjury is taking oath in a court and tell a lie. All right? Yeah, Shivam, I just answered that, right? Next question. All right. Am I audible, Rocky? Fine. So the relationship between these two words. Okay, fine. Very good. I see some answers coming up. So partisan is somebody who is extremely biased, somebody who is prejudiced, somebody who is very narrow-minded as partisan, right? So we often use this word for politics, partisan politics, somebody who is very narrow-minded. If a person is from Congress, he would think only about the benefit of his own party. If somebody is ruling a specific state, he would think about only his provincial interest. He would not think about national interest. He would not think on a bigger perspective, larger perspective. So that way, partisan politics. So same as biased. Somebody who is partisan is always biased, right? So that way, synonymous relationship. Answer is finite. Very good. Right? So limited and finite, both will be synonymous word pair. Alright, now next set of question is based on assumptions, right? Now please see the statement and tell me if assumption 1 or assumption 2 is applicable. Fine. So Priya says first is valid. So the government has decided to pay compensation of rupees 1 lakh to the family members of those who are killed in railway accidents, right? First assumption, government is willing to address the plight of aggrieved. Possibly that is the whole reason why government has decided to give compensation, ex gratia, to those who have suffered in the accident. So this seems to be a valid assumption, right? So whichever way you may want to say that the amount is inadequate because somebody has lost his life and the family is not going to be satisfied with 1 lakh rupees. Because ultimately here the basis of this decision, basis of this whole move is that government wants to address their problems, right? So one is the valid assumption. Second, there may be a reduction in incidents of railway accidents in near future. So that's baseless assumption because doing this is not going to address the problem. Ultimately, if you take a corrective action so that such incidents are prevented or such accidents are averted in the future, you cannot assume this to happen by merely doing this, right? So assumption 1 is going to be the answer. Good, very good. All of you answered correctly. Okay, so Prathamesh says it's A. Only first is valid. Never before such a clearly written book was available on the topic. A. Some other books were available on the topic. Possibly you have other books on this topic written. That is why you are drawing a comparison and you are saying never before such a clearly written book was available on the topic. There were other attempts to write books on that topic, but this was most clearly written. So A is a valid assumption. You can write such books on very few topics. So that's all right. So Prayas says it's C, neither 1 or 2. First is a valid assumption here because when you say never before such a clearly written book was available on the topic, that means you have possibly written or you have possibly read some other books on the topic. That is why you are coming to this conclusion that this is most clearly written book on the topic, right? So the implicit assumption here is you have understanding of other books that are written on this topic, but you find this book most clearly written. That clearly means there are some other books written on the same topic. Okay? And that is why C is not the answer. Why second? You can write such books on very few topics. We have not been given any other topic. Right? We have not been told anything about any other topic. Only one topic and there is a clearly written book on this topic. That's what we have been told. So we cannot assume anything on other topics. Okay? Alright? Statement 3 or question 3. Prayers, tell me if you still have any question regarding question 2. I can go back to the slide and discuss it again. Alright. So here basically, whenever you are given such statement, Shivam, you have to find the assumption which must be in the author's mind while making this statement or writing this statement. It's not your assumption, it's always author's assumption behind writing this statement. Right? So when somebody says, I have not received telephone bills for 9 months in spite of several complaints, what is it that I assume? Alright? So let me quickly see some answers. Right. So every customer has a right to get bills regularly from the telephone company, and that's why he's complaining, and he has been. Yeah, so he wants to pay the bills, but he wants to receive the bill. He has not received any bill from the telephone company for last 9 months. That's what his complaint is. Alright? So the assumption that you want to make, that you are making here, or you have just written, may be true, may not be true. He possibly wants those bills only for his records, only for keeping a record, or possibly he has to present those bills for some kind of compensation. You don't know whether he wants to pay the bill or not, but he wants to receive the bill. And since he is complaining about it, that means he assumes it to be his right to be given the bills. Are we clear? Shivam, he wants to pay the bill. We have not been told anything about it. He has not received the bill. वो किस चीज के लिए बिल मांग रहा है हमें नहीं पता. We cannot assume anything. All we know here is that he wants to receive the bills that he has not received for 9 months. Please be clear about it, right? No assumption from your side कि वो बिल मांग रहा है, definitely उसको पे करना है. No, we don't know anything about that. ठीक है? So look at the assumptions. Every customer has a right to get bills regularly from the telephone company. That is why this person is complaining. Right? So there is a kind of a tacit agreement between the company, the service provider, and a consumer that regularly bill will be sent to the customer. If he is not receiving that, that's why he is complaining. Alright? So A is a valid assumption, isn't it? Tell me if you all agree that first assumption is a valid assumption. Alright, next, the customer's complaints point to the defect in the services which is expected to be corrected. Now, is that the assumption or not? Alright, now tell me if the second assumption is also valid or not. Look at the part of the sentence, a telephone customer's letter to the editor of a daily. He is writing this letter to the editor of a daily newspaper. Possibly he did not get his problem addressed by the telephone company, and that is why he resorted to writing this letter, complaint letter, to the editor of a daily newspaper. Now, what is his whole purpose? Why does he go to such length to write a letter to the daily newspaper, editor of a daily newspaper, to get his problem addressed? Possibly he wants to point out the defect in the services of a company and he wants it to be corrected. He wants the company to take the corrective action and address his problem. This is also valid assumption. Both are valid assumptions here. Why would he then, otherwise, why would he go to the editor of a daily newspaper? Are we clear? ठीक है class? Alright. Assumption 4. We have to be very quick because we have to solve some questions on course of action as well. We can go up to 8, right? Fine. Why don't you go to the court if the employer does not pay you the provident fund contribution, right? Now that's the statement. आप कोर्ट क्यों नहीं चले जाते अगर आपके एम्प्लॉयर आपको प्रोविडेंट फंड का पैसा नहीं देते? तो ये कहने के पीछे मैं क्या क्या मान के चल रही हूँ? What is it that I presuppose before making this statement? आप क्यों नहीं चले जाते कोर्ट? That means कोर्ट को ये अधिकार है कि आपके मामले में हस्तक्षेप कर सके, और मैं आपको ये सोच के बोल रही हूँ कि इस मामले में you can approach the court, right? So that is what is my assumption. So first is going to be a valid assumption. Courts can intervene in matters of dispute between employer and employees, right? So first is going to be a valid assumption. Second, it is obligatory for the employer to pay the provident fund contribution to the employees. तभी मैं आपको बोल रही हूँ आप कोर्ट चले जाओ. This is not something which is based on their discretion कि वो दे भी सकते हैं नहीं भी दे सकते. It's not your right. If it is your right, that is why I am asking you to go to court, because you should be given your rightful dues by the employer, alright? And since your employer is denying you the dues, you should go to court. So before making this statement, what I am presupposing is that you should be given your right by the employer. If it is not giving your rightful dues, you should go to court. Both are valid assumptions. All of you are correct. Most of you are rather correct here. So D is the correct answer. Both are valid assumptions. Assumption 5 question, 5th question. Alright, the statement is use our product to improve memory of our child. It is based, it should be your child, right? So because it's an advertisement, it should be basically your child. It is based on natural herbs and has no harmful side effects. An advertisement on a pharmaceutical company. Alright? Now, whenever you have such advertisement, please always assume what this advertiser wants you to notice. An advertisement, behind an advertisement will always be the presupposition this is what is wanted, and that is why they are going to include those components in their advertisement, right? First, people generally opt for a medical product which is useful and has no harmful side effects. So if they are including this, that means they want to take the premium on that. They want to advertise the fact that it is made from natural herbs. Possibly they are advertising this fact because this is what is preferred by the consumers. They would like to consume something which is made from natural herbs. Fine? So this is valid assumption. Second, improving memory of child is considered as important by many parents. So here, look at the construction or the words of this advertisement. Important by, it's actually by many parents. Right, Shivam? So use your product to improve memory of your child. It's based, right? Your child. So possibly this is something wanted. This is what is wanted by parents for their children. So that's also going to be a valid assumption. Alright. So when I introduce the features of Unacademy at the beginning of every session, I give you the different features of Unacademy. So as per your convenient time, as per your availability, you can choose the time of your class. So why I try to advertise this feature? Because this is something which is wanted by students. They do not want a regimental fixed class structure. Rather, they want their classes to be organized as per their convenience. So that is why we are giving that a feature. We have introduced Ask a Doubt feature, right? So Ask a Doubt, why that feature has been introduced, or why that feature has been inducted into whole system. Possibly this is what students want. This is something which is desired. That is why a company is introducing that, right? So whenever you have an advertisement, please see the assumption of the advertiser, why they are putting up that advertisement. So the language of the advertisement is planned very calculatively, and that too in a very concise manner, because you cannot write very long, lengthy and verbose sentences for advertising. It has to be catchy, it has to be short and sweet, and something which is going to make you remember it, right? So that way, only those things which are desired by the consumers will be included in the advertisement. So जब भी advertisement पे based आपके questions आए assumption में, please remember that possibly these things are desired by the consumer. That is why advertiser is bringing it in. All right. So I took 5 questions based on assumption, but you have to do ample practice. As long as your concept is clear, you can do all the questions based on assumption correct, right? Now let's do course of action. There were 2 questions in SNAP based on course of action, right? Fine. Let's read it. Yeah, Abhishek, at the beginning of today's session, I explained it very clearly that there were 6 questions from verbal reasoning, part in logical reasoning section, right? So 1 was syllogism, 2 course of action, 1 was assumption, 1 was strong and weak argument, right? So overall 6 questions, and yes, 1 analogy question. So we practice all the questions except strong and weak argument today. So I'm going to plan one more session for comprehensive practice, right? So in that comprehensive practice, I'll also include questions of parajumble, right? So parajumble, which was very easy, you only had to find out the opening statement of your paragraph, right? So it was fairly easy. So I'm going to include strong and weak argument and parajumble questions in that session, all right? So stay tuned on this channel for more such session for your snap preparation. Okay, so Shivam, I'll give you the basics of course of action, right? So course of action will always deal with the scenario, problem scenario, right? So there is an issue which has to be dealt with. So two possible, course of action should be, will be there. You will have to choose which is going to be applicable, which is going to address the situation. Now, the course of action should be chosen on some basic criteria, right? One, it has to directly address the problem. So if it is not addressing the core of the problem and it is only addressing the fringe issue, that means those issues which are not very important, that course of action is not correct. ठीक है? So अगर core of the problem है आपका कि कोरोना की वैक्सीन बननी है and scientists are facing enormous problem in getting some raw material, right? Fine. So what should be done? What should government do? Government should give more scholarship to those who want to get into biomedical field. Possibly that's going to address the problem, but that is only going to address the unimportant part of the problem. As of now, the raw material that is needed for the vaccine is not available. And government is going to increase the scholarship for those people who are going to get into this field. That is going to have a large, long-reaching effect. But what about the immediate problem, right? So this is not addressing the core of the issue. So this is not your answer. Second, any option which addresses the problem to some extent, but also create another problem is not your solution. Okay? So basic, what you have to understand is your solution should not create another problem, right? So same way, anything which is radical or something which is too revolutionary or something which is not practically possible should not be chosen as your course of action. So there is a brain drain happening in country, right? So people are educated here, they are taking admission in colleges here, they are getting all the subsidies given by the government, they are getting all the scholarship, and later on they are moving on to other countries and they are serving those countries. So brain drain is happening, they are moving on to other countries for greener pasture. What should be done? So one course of action is you put a ban on them for at least 10 years. So 10 years, they have to serve their country, they have to stay back in their country. For 10 years, they have to stay in their country, and after that, they can go and serve whichever country or live in whichever country they want. Possibly, that's going to address the problem. But what about their fundamental rights? Isn't it going to violate their fundamental rights? Aren't they going to challenge this decision? Right? So this is going to create another problem. Right? And this is also in a way violating their civic liberty, right? So that way this is going to end the problem, this is going to address the problem, but this is too oppressive to be implemented as the right course of action. Okay? So something which is too radical is also not recommended. Okay? So what you have to do is something which is going to address the problem, and same way the solution should not create another problem. Okay? So this is the basic dictate that you have to follow when you choose the course of action. Now, let's look at this question. India has been continuously experiencing military threats from its neighboring countries. So that's a problem. What should country do? India should engage into an all-out war to stop the nagging threats. So possibly in the scenario of Chinese threat, this question must have been framed. क्या हमें full-fledged war में चले जाना चाहिए? एक course of action ये बोलता है all those people who are war-mongering and those people who support invasive policy, they should say कि एक बार में सब खत्म कर दो और you should wage the war. What about other problems? What about economic implication of this course of action? What about political implication of this? What about the collateral damage that people have to face? It's a very extreme option. Yes, military threats हो रही है, war थोड़ा ना हो रही है. Military threats. Because of threats, are you going to wage war? Too extreme to be an answer. Too radical to be a step. Shiva, so both are not correct, right? As I said, possibly, it may be supported by your feeling, your belief, but what you have to do is you have to be rational when you take the decision. This is nothing but your decision making, basic decision making skill. Okay, so A is not correct. India should get the neighbors into a serious dialogue to reduce the tension at its border. Yes, that's what that's what democratic countries do. They have a diplomatic dialogue with other nations. They would like to engage with the country. They would like to sort out the problems on negotiating table. Not waging war is going to be the solution. All right? Fine. Next question. Yes, Shivam. Why not? India should engage into an all war to stop the nagging threats. War. These are just military threats. They have not encroached. They have not attacked. It's just military threats. Threats के लिए आप कैसे war कर सकते हो? Yes, it's an extreme. Very clearly, it's an extreme step. ठीक है? Next question. So there has been less than 40% voter turnout in the recent assembly election. तो वोटर टर्नआउट कम है, लेस देन 40% लोग जो है आए और उन्होंने वोट किया, राइट? सो इट्स अ प्रॉब्लम. कोर्स ऑफ एक्शन. The election commission should cancel the entire election process as the votes cast are not adequate to represent people. Should it be cancelled? Yeah, so that's the question, Shivam. Actually, every extreme step is going to generate another problem. But unless there is a problem of such importance which demands for such extreme step, you cannot take such harsh decisions, right? Unless there is enormity of problem, right? You cannot take such decisions. Second says the election commission should take away the voting rights of those who did not exercise their rights. All right, so that's also very impractical. Yeah, so it's basically D, Abhishek. Yes, you are correct. So first is not applicable because conducting election in a country like India is a very costly affair. It's a huge exercise, right? It involves great deal of cooperation, great deal of coordination among different departments, and then a lot of things are organized, and then only an assembly poll is conducted. So A is definitely going to be wrong because that's an extreme step. And second, election commission. The job and responsibility of the election commission is to conduct free and independent election, free and fair election, right? There must not be any rigging in the election. There must not be any problem in the election. That's what is the job of election commissioner. Of course, it should do something to ensure high voter turnout. But if it does not happen, the election should not be cancelled or cannot be cancelled. Okay? Second is also eliminated. Second is also not the answer because ultimately these people have the democratic rights, right? It's not mandatory for them. And ultimately, they have the freedom of expression. So right to vote is also a freedom of expression, right? So by not casting their vote in any election, they are possibly expressing their desire not to vote for anyone, because they do not find any person worthy enough to be voted for them. Yes. So these two course of action do not follow. That is why answer is D. All right. Fine. So Shivam says inform, promote, and educate and aware. Yeah. So creating awareness should be the answer, right? So that's not in the answer. Next. Okay, Jacob Daniel. Which sentence are you talking about? Uh, this one? The grades should be verified from the concerned department. Okay, if this is a sentence, this sentence means that the head of the placement committee should go to the department which issues the mark sheet, which gives the marks, and these resume, the marks and the grades which students have put up in their resume should be verified by their actual marks, whether they have been given these grades or not. Accordingly, their resume should be corrected, because students are not going to come out themselves and correct their grades or give the correct grading, or reveal what grades they actually they received. But here, if this is verified by the head of the placement committee from the department itself, then he is going to get the actual figures, actual data of their grades. Should it be done or not? I don't know what you're writing here. It clearly says the grade should be verified from the concerned department. The concerned department is the department which issues the mark sheet, right? And from that department only the head of the placement committee is going to get the actual picture. All right? Fine. So, yeah, answer is 2. Shivam here and Ashish, Abhishek. Both of you have answered correctly. The head of the placement committee should not go and cancel the entire placement drive, because it is being done by some students, and all the students should not pay the price of the mistakes of some students. If this is done by some students, those students must be penalized, not all the students, right? So the campus drive should go on ultimately, because this is also something which is going to decide the future of a lot of students as well as the placement committee, right? And second, should be done. So answer is 2. All right. Next question, or last question of today. Alright, we are on the last question. A very large number of students have failed in the final high school examination due to the faulty questions in one of the subjects. All the students who have failed in these subjects should be allowed to take supplementary examination. Is that the correct course of action? Okay, I cannot see the answer. Are you able to see me and hear me? Okay, so you say both are correct course of action, right? Alright, so all the students who have failed in the subject should be allowed to take supplementary examination. Now, why should they be taking the supplementary examination? Was it their mistake? Alright, so if they are allowed to write the supplementary examination, that means it was their mistake. Because ultimately, supplementary is going to be their result. Compartment is going to be their result. Someone else's mistake and they are going to pay the price. Is that a fair course of action? Now, the correct course of action in this situation is to find out the truth. Whose mistake was that? And ultimately, corrective action is to be taken up. Whether all the students should be given the grading accordingly, should that question be cancelled out, or should they be given another paper to showcase their proficiency or to demonstrate their proficiency? The first facts are to be, found out. On the basis of that only, you should take another course of action. Yes. So here C is not the answer. Answer is second. Only two will follow. First, why should students be paying the price of someone else's mistake? And a very large number of students have failed in the final high school examination, right? So that means, and the questions are many, faulty questions in one of the subjects, right? So there were too many questions and there were too many students. Why should they be taking supplementary exam? Because they are high school students and ultimately their result is going to show they pass in the supplementary. So that means that's going to be tainted. Their profile, academic profile is going to be tainted if they sit for a supplementary exam. That means they could not showcase their or demonstrate their ability, whereas it was the fault of somebody who sent the paper, right? So A is not the answer. Yes, answer is going to be second. Fine. So course of action is nothing but coming to a rational decision according to the situation, right? So you have to free from the prejudice and you have to free from your own biases that we all have. We all are human beings, we all have beliefs, we all have some or other kind of ideology. So somebody is saying that, that war is the only ultimate solution, right? So, but ultimately you have to see what repercussions it is going to have. Far-reaching repercussions as well as, immediate implications. So a war is never going to be a solution, right? So that way you will have to, weigh the pros and cons of a specific solution, specific course of action and then choose it. Yeah, so that way, see, fact-finding committee has to be arranged. And that's what second is saying. A fact-finding committee should be set up. According to the recommendation of that committee, next step is to be taken. Entire exam is to be cancelled or that subject has to be cancelled, and accordingly should students be given the grace marking and all of them should be passed in the examination, or should there be another examination conducted for them to demonstrate their ability. But a fact-finding committee has to be there, and those people who are responsible should also be punished. ठीक है? So course of action, be rational and be practical, right? Don't be dictated by your bookish understanding. Don't be also dictated by your overwhelming feeling about an issue. जैसे war के time पे आप वैसा feel कर सकते हैं, but be rational and be pragmatic. ठीक है? So course of action, basic understanding of decision making. Problem has to be addressed and a solution has to be a viable solution. A solution which is going to address the problem. ठीक है? 2 क्वेश्चन थे कोर्स ऑफ एक्शन के, इसलिए इसको अच्छे से प्रैक्टिस कर लो, राइट? टोटल 6 क्वेश्चन फ्रॉम वर्बल रीजनिंग. फाइन. So Shivam, you wanted to ask something in grammar. Please go ahead and ask your question. Otherwise, I'm going to wind up the session. All right. So verbal reasoning, please do it. Do this practice extensively, because this is one part which is going to increase your overall marking in logical ability. Logical reasoning is going to take up a lot of time, because even if it is setting arrangement, or if it is putting up those ages, and where you will have to draw a lot of diagrams and do a lot of calculations, they are going to take up a lot of time. Verbal reasoning is not going to take up a lot of time, right? So this is one part which could be a breather for you. Yes, of course. I'm going to ask my coordinator who takes care of the groups to change the settings so that you can also put up something in the group, and I'll definitely do that, right? So keep watching this my videos, and do like videos, do share these videos with them who are preparing for SNAP. I'm going to make some more useful videos for all of you before your exam on 6th and 9th, right? Thank you very much.